I always believed my father would protect me. Even after Mom died, even after the fight started, even after he remarried a woman who saw me as a threat to her future. I still carried this childish hope that somewhere under his coldness, he loved me. That belief shattered the night I collapsed in the hallway of our house, gripping my chest, unable to breathe. The world spun. My vision went white, and the last thing I heard was my stepmother's voice calling my father, not for help, but to come see this. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed, tubes in my arm, a heart monitor beeping slowly like distant footsteps. A doctor stood over me, expression tight. "You have a rare cardiac condition. If we don't operate soon, your heart could fail." I stared at him, stunned, terrified. Surgery. Urgent. Life or death. He placed the estimate in my hand, $180,000. I swallowed hard, but I wasn't scared of the money. We had more than enough. My grandfather's inheritance, worth $15 million, was waiting for me when I turned 25, and Dad was the trustee until then. Money wasn't the problem, or so I thought. When my dad walked in, his face didn't show worry, didn't show fear, didn't show love. Instead, he looked irritated, like I had inconvenienced his evening. My stepmother folded her arms and stood behind him, eyes narrowed, lips curved in a faint smirk. "Well," she said, staring at the doctor's paper, "that's a lot of money for a maybe." Dad sighed and rubbed his forehead like he was calculating something. "Is it absolutely necessary?" he asked the doctor. The doctor's brows knitted. Without surgery, her chances of surviving the next few weeks drop dramatically. Dramatically. The word echoed in my skull like a death sentence. My father nodded slowly, then said 6 words that punched the air out of my lungs. "Let her pass. We won't pay." The room froze. My stepmother looked relieved. The doctor looked horrified, and I felt my heart break in a way surgery couldn't fix. I tried to sit up. "Dad, what are you saying?" He didn't look at me. "I'm saying what's practical. You're 24. You have no career. You've been a burden since your mother died. Maybe this is for the best. For the best. For the best." Then, right there, in front of me, they handed the doctor a folder. Inside was a document that made the blood drain from my face. A DNR form. A "Do Not Resuscitate." Signed by my father. Without my consent. Without my knowledge. Without hesitation. He signed my death. To save money. No, not to save it. To claim it. Because if I died before turning 25, he would inherit my $15 million. I couldn't breathe. The heart monitor beeped wildly. The doctor stepped back, shocked. "Sir, she's conscious. This requires her signature." "We can't." My father cut him off sharply. "I am the legal, medical proxy, and her trustee. She's not in the state of mind to decide." "And you want her to die?" the doctor whispered. My stepmother shrugged. "Things happen." The doctor hesitated long enough for me to feel hope, but Dad glared at him with a cold, calculated stare. "File it," he ordered. "No surgery. No resuscitation. When nature takes its course, let it." As they walked out, the air felt thin. The lights too bright. The walls too close. They left me there, a dying daughter, like a bill they didn't want to pay. I stared at the doorway long after they disappeared, tears pooling in my eyes, my heartbeat weak and uneven. I wasn't scared of death. Not anymore. I was scared of the truth. My father had just tried to kill me. For money. And that night, as my body trembled and fear wrapped around me like ice, I made myself a silent promise. If I survived this, I would make him regret ever thinking I was disposable. The night felt endless. Every second stretched like it was trying to pull me toward the edge of death. The monitors beeped softly. Cold air hummed from the vents, and footsteps echoed faintly in the corridor. I lay still, terrified to even breathe too hard, afraid my heart might give up at any moment. My father's words replayed in my head like a cruel anthem. Let her pass. Let her pass. Let her pass. He didn't sound angry. He didn't sound emotional. He sounded decisive, like a businessman ending a contract, not a father making a choice about his daughter's life. My hands trembled uncontrollably. I kept staring at the doorway, expecting my stepmother to appear again with that satisfied smirk, the kind someone gives when a problem is finally being handled. I had always felt she didn't like me, but I never imagined she wanted me gone. The door creaked. I froze, but it wasn't her. A nurse stepped inside, a woman in her early 42nds with soft eyes that carried both exhaustion and kindness. She gently closed the door behind her and lowered her voice. "Are you awake?" she whispered. I nodded, wiping my cheeks. My throat was too tight to speak. She walked closer, checking my pulse and adjusting the monitor. "I heard what your father said." Her voice broke slightly. She wasn't supposed to tell me that. Nurses were trained to stay professional. But she looked at me with the emotional honesty of someone who had daughters of her own. "I'm so sorry." "I don't understand," I whispered, my chest tightening. "Why would he do that? Why?" She hesitated only a moment before leaning closer. "I checked your file. He's listed as your medical proxy. And there's a note about a trust fund. She didn't say the rest. She didn't have to." I already knew. Money. Always money. "I'll die without the surgery," I breathed. She looked me straight in the eyes. "Not if I can help it." My heart skipped, not in danger this time, but in shock. What do you mean?" She glanced at the hallway, making sure no one was listening. "Legally, I cannot override a proxy unless—" She paused again, then took a deep breath. "Unless the patient speaks for themselves. If you declare that you reject the DNR and want treatment, we have to document it. And once that's documented, no one, not even a proxy, can contradict it." Hope flickered through me like a match struck in a dark cave. "But," she continued, lowering her voice further, "your father already asked the night staff to file the DNR immediately. They're waiting for the doctor to sign off. Once it's processed, it will take a court order to undo." That hope flickered dimmer. "How much time do I have?" I whispered. "Maybe an hour. 2 at most." My heart pounded. I tried to sit up, but the pain seized my chest. She held me carefully, guiding me back. "Don't push yourself. Listen, I'm going to bring the attending physician back here and record your refusal of the DNR. But I need you to be strong enough to speak clearly. Can you do that?" I nodded, even though I wasn't sure. The nurse stepped away, then paused again, as if remembering something crucial. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a folded paper. She placed it on my lap. "What's this?" "Your father asked the admin office for this tonight," she said quietly. "He wanted to submit it along with the DNR." I unfolded it with trembling fingers. It was my death certificate form, already half filled out, a date, a cause, a signature line for him. He was preparing for my funeral. Before I was even gone, the room spun. For a moment I couldn't breathe, not from my condition, but from pure betrayal. The nurse clenched her jaw, anger flashing across her face. "Whatever he's trying to do, we're not letting him." She placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. "I promise." Before she left, she turned to me again. "I'm going to risk my job for you, but you need to promise me something in return." "What?" I whispered. "When this is over, fight back." Those words pierced through my fear like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. Fight back. Not survive. Fight. She slipped out of the room, leaving me trembling but no longer helpless. For the first time since waking up in that hospital bed, I felt the beginning of a fire inside me. As I stared at the half-filled death certificate in my hands, my breath steadied. My father wanted me dead for the money. He thought I was weak. He thought I would go quietly. He had no idea who he was dealing with. If part 1 was the night I discovered their betrayal, part 2 was the moment I decided I would live. Even if I had to fight everyone who wanted me buried. The hallway outside my room buzzed with the cold rhythm of hospital chaos carts rolling, muffled voices, the distant beep of machines fighting for lives. But inside my room, the air felt heavy, tense, like the moment just before a storm unleashes itself. I stared at the half-filled death certificate on my lap, the ink still fresh. My father hadn't even hesitated. He had written my name on a document meant for the dead. His own daughter. My chest tightened not from the illness this time, but from a kind of heartbreak that felt deeper than any physical wound. Just then, the door swung open quietly. The nurse, the only person standing between me and the grave, slipped inside again. Her face was pale, lips pressed tight. "What happened?" I whispered, already sensing trouble. She locked the door behind her. Not a good sign. "I went to get the doctor," she said softly. "But someone got to him first." My heart dropped. "Who?" She hesitated. "Your stepmother." Cold fear crawled through me. "She told him you were unconscious," the nurse continued, "and gave him a folder to sign on behalf of the family. I couldn't see everything inside, but I saw one page clearly." "What page?" I breathed, barely able to form the words. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a photo she had snapped on her phone, a quick, blurry picture. I squinted at it. It was my signature. On a DNR release form. A signature authorizing the hospital not to revive me. A signature that looked almost exactly like mine. Almost. My throat dried. "That's not mine," I whispered. "I never signed anything." "I know," she said sharply. "But she convinced the doctor that you had." A chill ran down my spine. "My stepmother forged my signature," the nurse continued, whispering fast. Panicked. "She told the doctor that you were too emotional to make decisions, that you wanted peace, that you didn't want to suffer. She made it sound like you begged them not to resuscitate you." I closed my eyes, swallowing the rising nausea. "So the doctor—" "Yes," she cut in. "He put the folder in the priority bin for the night shift to process. If they file it before we change your status yourself, they'll have the legal right to withhold treatment." My pulse hammered. She was right. We were running out of time. "Okay," I whispered. "What do we do?" The nurse stepped closer, her voice calm despite the storm in her eyes. "You need to officially revoke the DNR. We need your signature, on camera, in front of a physician. Once that's done, the forged document means nothing." "And the doctor? He's biased now," she said flatly. "He trusts your stepmother. We need someone else." A knock jolted us both. The nurse's head whipped toward the door. We froze. Another knock. Harder. My blood turned icy. The nurse whispered urgently, "Don't say a word." She cracked the door open. My stepmother stood outside, arms crossed, her perfume strong enough to choke someone. Her face was calm, too calm, like someone who had just finished planning a funeral and was waiting for the final call. "I need to see her," she said. "She's resting," the nurse replied firmly. "Doctor's orders." My stepmother slid her foot forward, blocking the door from closing. "Move." The nurse didn't. Their eyes locked quiet war. "She's stable for now," my stepmother said, her tone almost rehearsed. "We're considering transferring her to a private hospice. It's better for her. Quiet. Peaceful." Hospice. Hospice meant end of life. Hospice meant no surgery. Hospice meant death. My lungs tightened. "No," the nurse snapped, stepping forward. "She is not being transferred anywhere." My stepmother's smile thinned. "I didn't ask for your opinion. I'm her guardian in this matter." The nurse looked her dead in the eyes. "She's conscious. She's capable. And she will decide for herself." My stepmother leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "She won't be conscious for long. Her condition is unstable. The stress is—" "That's enough." The nurse stepped out, physically blocking her path. "You're not going in." For a moment, no one spoke. Then my stepmother whispered coldly, "You don't understand what you're interfering with." "Oh," the nurse said, "I understand perfectly. Silence. Then the stepmother walked away, heels clicking sharply with every step. The nurse shut the door and locked it again. "Okay," she said, turning to me, voice shaking slightly. "We have to act now." I nodded, adrenaline rushing through me. She picked up the phone. "I'm calling Dr. Ruiz. He's senior, ethical, and not tied to your family. If he comes, we can legally override every document they tried to push tonight." As she dialed, she glanced at me. "Your stepmother didn't just forge your signature," she said softly. She rushed the filing. "We have maybe minutes before it becomes official." Minutes. Everything, my life, my future, my freedom came down to minutes. My heart pounded so loudly I thought it would trip the monitors. Then I heard footsteps running up the hallway. Fast. Urgent. Someone was coming. And I knew. Either it was the help we needed, or the people who wanted me dead. The footsteps outside grew louder, sharp, rapid, echoing through the hallway like someone running toward a fire. My pulse spiked. The nurse froze, her eyes snapping toward the door. "Stay still," she whispered. Then the footsteps stopped. Right outside my room, a shadow slid under the door. My fingers curled into the bedsheet. Another knock, not gentle this time. A precise, urgent thud. The nurse stepped forward, opened the door just an inch, keeping her foot braced behind it. "Who is it?" she demanded. A familiar voice answered. "It's Ruiz!" Relief flooded me so fast I nearly collapsed. The door opened slightly. Through the gap, I saw him. Dr. Miguel Ruiz, senior attending physician, the one doctor in this hospital with a reputation for integrity so strong that even administrators feared crossing him. He stepped inside, his eyes scanning the room quickly, taking in the tension. Behind him, down the hall, I caught a glimpse of my father and my stepmother standing together, whispering to a hospital administrator. A cold chill ran through me. "Doctor," the nurse said quickly, closing the door behind him. "We have a forged DNR." His brows shot up. "Forged?" "Yes," she said. "Signed by someone else, placed in the system, uploaded into the overnight file queue." Ruiz's eyes turned sharp, like a man who had just smelled smoke in a building. He turned to me. "Is this true? Did you sign a DNR?" "No," I whispered, my voice cracking. "I never signed anything." He nodded, once firm, decisive. "Then we're revoking it." Those words felt like oxygen. He pulled out a pen, a legal form, and placed it on the tray in front of me. "This is the official revocation of the DNR. I'll witness it. The nurse will countersign. Once this is filed, no one, not family, not administrators, can override it without a court order." My hands trembled as I signed my name, clearly, boldly, deliberately. The nurse signed next. Then Ruiz. "It's done," he said. But the relief lasted only seconds. Because the moment he turned toward the door to file it electronically, the door burst open, slammed so hard it rattled the wall. My father stormed in first. Face red, jaw clenched, eyes burning in a way I had never seen in my life. Behind him, my stepmother walked in with icy calm, her lips curved in a small, poisonous smile. "What is happening here?" my father barked. "Why are you interfering in family decisions?" Ruiz didn't flinch. "Because your daughter is legally competent. She made her decision." "She's emotional," my stepmother snapped sharply. "She's under stress. She doesn't understand the suffering ahead." "Suffering?" I rasped. "You signed a do not resuscitate form behind my back." My father stepped forward. "You think we want to do this? The surgery will bankrupt us. There's no guarantee you'll survive." "There is a guarantee," my stepmother cut in coldly, "that the inheritance will be gone in legal fees if she stays on life support." The room went silent. My breath caught. "What inheritance?" Ruiz asked quietly. My father's face drained of color. My stepmother stiffened. They hadn't meant to say it, but the truth was out. I stared at them, heart pounding. "You did this to get the money?" My father looked away. My stepmother stepped forward instead, voice low, venomous. You think we don't know? You think your grandfather didn't leave everything to you? 15 million untouched, locked, waiting. And if you die unmarried, without children, the money passes to your next of kin. I felt sick. You mean you? I whispered. She smiled. Exactly. Ruiz's expression turned to stone. This is criminal. But my father snapped. Stay out of this! And stepped toward Ruiz. The nurse moved between them. Don't you dare touch him. My father glared at her, then at me. You were always ungrateful, he hissed. Always a burden. We fed you, raised you, paid for you. You paid nothing, I screamed, tears blurring my vision. Mom left me money for my education. My grandfather supported everything. You never paid a thing. My father flinched truth, hitting him harder than any blow. My stepmother exhaled sharply, annoyed. We're wasting time. Let's finish the transfer. The ambulance is waiting. Transfer? The nurse's voice cracked. To where? My stepmother smirked. A private hospice. Ruiz stepped forward, fury in his eyes. You're transferring a conscious, competent patient to an end-of-life facility against her will? Her will doesn't matter, my father said. We're her guardians. No, Ruiz snapped. You were her guardians when she was unconscious. She's conscious now. She has full legal authority. He lifted the signed revocation. This document makes every action you took tonight illegal. My stepmother lunged forward to grab it. Ruiz stepped back, holding it high. You just committed medical fraud, he said calmly. And attempted homicide. The room froze. Outside, I heard more footsteps, heavier, firmer. Security. Ruiz had called them. The door opened, and 2 security officers stepped inside. My stepmother's face twisted. Wait, but Ruiz held up the form. This overrides everything they filed. Her life is no longer in your hands. My father's shoulders slumped. Not in grief. In defeat. As security stepped between us, escorting them out, my father turned back one last time. His eyes weren't angry now. They were terrified. You have no idea what you've started, he whispered. Then he was gone. The room felt suddenly larger, emptier, lighter. Ruiz turned to me, his voice softening. You're safe for now, but this isn't over. I nodded weakly, because I knew he was right. My family hadn't just tried to kill me. They were still out there, and now they were desperate. The next morning, I walked into the attorney's office, shaking not from fear, but from the weight of everything that had happened. My dad arrived too, acting calm, almost confident. Maybe he thought I'd come to settle everything quietly. Maybe he still believed I was the obedient daughter who wouldn't fight back. He sat across from me, pretending nothing had happened. No guilt, no remorse, no shame, just entitlement. Then my attorney placed a folder on the table, a thick one, full of evidence, documents, medical statements, witness accounts, and most importantly, the updated will my mother had personally signed 6 months before she died. My dad's smirk slowly disappeared. Inside the will, in my mother's handwriting, was a single line that shattered everything he thought he controlled. All assets, investments, and trusts are to be transferred solely to my daughter. My attorney spoke calmly. Sir, what you attempted withholding medical care for financial gain falls under intentional neglect and inheritance interference. You can leave quietly, or we can proceed legally. For the first time, I saw fear on my father's face. The man who tried to let me die. The man who signed a DNR against my will. The man who wanted millions more than he wanted a daughter. He finally realized he had lost everything. He stood up, opened his mouth like he wanted to defend himself. But no words came. Just silence. And then he left. No apology. Just the heavy footsteps of a man who finally understood that money couldn't save him from consequences. When the door closed, I felt a wave of peace I hadn't felt in years. Not because I won, but because I walked away alive. Because my mother, even in death, protected me more than my father ever did. Because the $15M wasn't just money. It was freedom. It was justice. It was proof that I mattered. And as I signed the final papers, I whispered the same words my father once said when he tried to let me die. Let him pass. But this time, it wasn't my life ending. It was his control over it.